Hey, welcome to another Ruby Guides video. So what is this video about? And by the way, if you like Ruby, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and visit my website rubyguides.com. So let's get into this video. What is this video about? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make your Ruby code faster. And you don't have to change your code. How is that possible? Okay, let's take a look at something really cool. I made a small mind map for you here. I'm just going to give you the answer. And I'm going to explain how it works. And how you can benefit from it in different scenarios. Okay? So the answer to that, how you can make your code faster without changing your code, it's something called, I think the pronunciation is YJIT. This thing right here. I'm going to zoom for you. This thing, what is YJIT? Well, it's something called a just-in-time compilation. Well, what is that? That sounds like, I don't know what that is. Well, okay, that's why you're watching this video, because I'm going to explain. So just-in-time compilation is a way to optimize code as it's running. So you run your Ruby code, and this thing, which is built into Ruby right now, we analyze your code. If we analyze what methods you're calling, if you're calling a method very often, if we take that method and we optimize it. How does it optimize it? Well, it converts your code into machine code, which is a lot faster. Okay? So instead of trying to go through the regular steps of interpreting your code and executing it, if we just take these often used methods and if we optimize them by converting into machine code, which will be faster. So that's what the YJIT does. Okay? And let me give you an example so you can have this better, understand this better. Let's say you have methods. You have three methods, A, B, and C, for example. Let's say that you call this method B many times, so you will want it to be optimized, so it runs faster the next time you call it. So that's what the YJIT does for you automatically. And here's a little technical detail, is that by default, the threshold to enable this optimization, to activate or trigger the YJIT is 10 method calls. It's just the default value. Okay, so now let's go back here. Now that we understand what a just-in-time compilation is, or at least have a general idea, how do you use it in your Ruby code? Because it's not enabled by default. Okay, so you don't need this to run your code if we just run normally, but this will make it faster. So things you need to know to use YJIT, and specifically this has been tried before. So for a long time, the developers of the Ruby programming language, they have been trying and working on making Ruby faster, right? And they have achieved that. They made it faster, even without the YJIT. And now with this, they have been trying to make different versions of this YJIT, but it wasn't working correctly. It wasn't really doing very well until Shopify, which is one of the biggest users of Ruby and Ruby on Rails, they committed a lot of engineering and financial resources to make this happen, and they made this new version which is actually working in production, and that's called YJIT, which stands for yet another just-in-time compilation system, I guess. So it's working into production right now, and as of the good news is that as of Ruby 3.2, which is the most recent version of Ruby as of this recording, it's no longer experimental. So now you can use it in production. So it's really good. It's being used in Shopify and other sites. I have been tested and it works, and it makes your code faster without changing your code. How do you enable it? Well, to enable it, you use this -YJIT, this thing. You just need to add this and it will make your code faster. How cool is that? This is amazing. This is amazing. And we see some benchmarks right now so you can see how fast it is. So there is this one way to enable the JIT, and there is another way, which is to use the Ruby options environment variable, and we will see why this is useful. Okay, so we've seen this, and now let's go to my notes and code examples right here. Oh, one thing you need to know, because I know there are some Windows users right there, is that YJIT is only, right now, it's one of the limitations, is that it only works on Mac OS and Linux. But don't worry, because your production code on the server, when it's actually going for your users, your server is 99% going to be Linux based server. So you're going to have YJIT available. So don't worry about that. And for development, well, you don't really need it. It might be nice to have, but if you're in Windows, of course, it's not optimal to be on Windows, but if you are, and you don't have other options right now, that's fine. You can still be learn Ruby, okay? Well, eventually, if you're using Windows, you will want to have access to Linux or Mac machine. You might want to know if you have YJIT available. How can we figure that out? Well, there is this command right here. Let me scroll down. I copied it, I think. Yes. So if you use this command, ruby-h, which is for help, we grep, which means we are filtering. So this is a bash terminal command that we filter your output. Okay, I'm saying, okay, filter it and look for the word YJIT. Keep in mind this is case sensitive, okay? And this is what you should see. If you have YJIT available, you should see this. It should say YJIT enable in process JIT compiler. If you get this, then you have it available. If you don't, if this is empty, for example, then there might be a few things happening. One thing is you might not be on the latest version of Ruby. How do you check that? Ruby-v. This will tell you your version of Ruby. If it's not 3.2 or newer, then you won't have this. At least you won't have the production version of it. You will have experimental version. So you want Ruby 3.0, I mean 3.2, if you want to have this, if you want to make your code faster with this JIT. Another thing is that you might be on Windows, like we said, it's not available for Windows. And one more thing is that, oh yeah, you might be missing this Rust C package. So according to the documentation, you need this installed. So if you are like on Ubuntu like I am, you can do like apt install Rust C and then reinstall your Ruby, preferably using a package manager, because the package managers like rvamp or chruby or rvm, any of those. Usually we compile or Ruby from source, or we already give you a version which has everything you need, including this YJIT. Okay, so that's in case what I said is just in case you run this and you see, oh, why don't I don't have it? Well, I just gave you the reasons of why you might not have it, so you can fix it. Okay. So now let's keep going. We covered that, which I think is important. I have some benchmarks. So there is a GitHub repo called Ruby benchmarks or something like that, and I pulled two of benchmarks, which I think might be interesting to try. So I have this code. This command. So this is time. We will do that. If we time how long it takes for this to run, and I have a split terminal so we can compare. So I have one version without the YJIT. So I'm going to remove that, and another with the YJIT. I'm going to run the two side by side so we can compare. Here we go. It's running. This is already done. The YJIT is already done. You see, that was super fast. So that that took like 2 seconds to run with the YJIT. So that means this code was optimized and it's really fast. And this without the YJIT, it took 7 seconds, so several times more. You see how much faster your code can become. Of course, this is going to depend a lot on the code, your own code, but you're going to get an improvement most likely. So I have more examples for you. Let's say, okay, how about, for example, ERB, right? Because this may be, let me show you the code. So this benchmark is this, okay? It's just doing some kind of calculations on things. And this other benchmark is called ERB benchmark. So this might be familiar to you if you have done any Rails. Let's try with this benchmark and see what happens. So I'm going to do the same thing, but this time with the ERB benchmark. And let's see how much of an improvement we get. So let's go. Let's see. Let's go Git or YJIT pronunciation. Well, this is not as much of a difference as before, as you can see. This is 3.3 seconds and this is 3.6 seconds, but it's still a remarkable improvement in my opinion. Let's find out how much of a difference that is. So I wrote a small percent decrease calculator, and we're going to give it 3.6 to 3.3, and we get a 8% difference. Okay, I will take it. When you take it, 8% faster code, just by adding this, and you don't have to spend any time or change your code at all. Yes, I will take it. It's pretty cool. And as I say, we depend on your code into your actual code. Okay, so we've seen this, pretty cool. Hope you are excited for trying this out in your code because it's really cool. And now for the probably what you have been thinking, what our Rails? We this work with Rails. We make my Rails project faster, and the answer is yes. If we also make your Ruby on Rails code faster. Let's see how to use it with Rails, because with Rails you can't do this. This is not an option, as you can see. I just get the the options for the Rails command, because this is not an option. So how do we use Rails with the Git? Well, this is where the environment variable comes in. So let me copy this, there we go. This we run a Rails server in production mode with the YJIT enabled. That's how you do it. So I have a Rails project right here. This is a scaffold project. There is nothing special about it. Okay, now I'm going to copy this again. And what are we going to do? I'm going to run a benchmark, of course. And we're going to figure out how good this is. And I'm going to advance you that it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. You're going to be happy with this. So no more complaining our Ruby performance, I think. Especially if you use the YJIT. And I forgot to say, it's getting better. In Ruby 3.3, it's going to be even faster. It's getting even more optimized and improved. So if you are excited for that, I don't know what to tell you anymore. So let's run this benchmark. So this benchmark is going to make many requests to Rails server, which is running Puma, which is the default in production mode, so we can really test the real performance. I made it 5 workers. Okay, and I'm using a tool called work. It just uses 3 letters, WRK. It's called like that. I have some parameters. The parameters are D for the duration, 5 minutes, T for threads, and C for concurrent connections. So this is going to run 20 connections with 5 threads for 5 minutes to my endpoint here, which is my Rails application. So I just make a scaffold called cats. Okay. So I'm going to run this, and because it's 5 minutes, I'm not going to make you watch 5 minutes of nothing, because that will be kind of boring, right? So what I have done, well, you know these cooking shows? If you ever watch a cooking show, they show you the ingredients, they tell you what they're making, they show you the cooking, but they need to put something in the oven, for example, for 1 hour or whatever. Or they need to put something in the fridge for 3 hours. Well, they don't make you wait for that time. So what they do is they already prepare that thing in advance, so they can show you the finished result. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So in fact, this is a cooking show, but for Ruby. So I'm just going to stop this, and I'm just going to show you the results of the full 5-minute benchmark, which are here. So this with YJIT disable, as you can see. So this ran for the full 5 minutes in the same settings I'm showing you, with production mode, the 5 workers, everything. And these are the results, which we can see the more relevant information here is request per second. So right here on the bottom, I can even make this a little bigger. On the bottom last line, so request seconds, 2,170. Okay, so that's how many requests we're able to get out of our Rails applications with Git disabled. Now for the big reveal is how many you think we will get, how many requests you think we will get with YJIT enabled. Make a guess. It's going to be good. Da, 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 da. Whoa! We get almost 3K. You see this? The difference. It's the same 5 minutes, the same number of connections and threads, the same conditions. The only difference, I didn't change the code, I didn't change anything. So I think we deliver on the promise of this video, which is make your code faster with one simple change. And the change is enable your YJIT. And as you can see, we get pretty good increase from about 2K to almost 3K requests per second. So our Rails application is able to deliver a lot more requests or users if this was a real application. So that's pretty good. You didn't have to upgrade or pay more for your servers, anything. You just get free performance. Pretty cool, right? I also noticed something else. The latency in the YJIT disable is 9 milliseconds. And here is lower is better on latency, right? So this is how long it takes to respond. The latency is also lower on the YJIT enable version, 7 milliseconds. So that's another good thing that we get. Okay, so that's all I have for you in this video. I think it's pretty cool thing. I hope you're going to give it a try. Try it with all of your different applications. So this work with Rails, if we work with Sinatra, if we work with everything, with all your Ruby projects, it will work. As long as you have Ruby 3.0 on macOS or Linux. So take advantage of this. Is production ready. It's being used right now in big websites, Rails websites like Shopify. And also I want to say thank you Shopify for putting these resources into Ruby to make it better. And also thank you all of the developers of the Ruby programming language for the great work they have been putting into it. And finally, I want to also thank you for watching this video, especially if you made it through the end, because I know it can be a bit long. Yeah, we're done for this video. Hope you enjoy it. I hope you also enjoy and are excited about these new developments and this improved performance. See you in another video.